Hello and welcome back to From Content to Clients. Because we're getting into the warmer months, you may have started planning for summer break when your kids are home from school. I don't know, different schools get out at different times. Whenever your kids are going to be home, do you have a plan for how your content is going to go? And if you don't, that's fine. This is the perfect episode for you to listen to. I am going to talk to you about why summer requires a kind of different rhythm, how to create a minimum viable content strategy, because I'm sure you have better things to be doing while your kids are home than spend your time creating Instagram posts, and how we're going to keep it consistent and easily implementable. Let's get into it. Welcome to From Content to Clients. I'm your host, Sydney O'Brien, and this show is for busy service-based business owners who do not have time to keep throwing content at the wall and hoping it leads somewhere for their business. Here, we talk about smarter content making, stronger messaging, and how to create content that actually helps your business get clients, especially if you are working in small chunks of time. I don't know about you. I am already mentally preparing for my kids being home, the chaos that will inevitably ensue, disrupted schedules, less focused work time, inconsistent routines, which if you are in a neurodivergent family can lead to big problems. Asking for popsicles for breakfast, which I'm sure after a week or two, I will gladly just say yes to. And, in addition to all of that, you might feel kind of like guilty or less productive for slowing your work down, when in reality, you just don't have the same capacity over the summer. Whatever your summer plans are, if that includes camp, vacations, summer school, whatever's going on, changes are going to have to be made. And not just for you, because think about your audience as well. Their schedules are also likely changing and their capacity is changing. We see a lot of drop in views and engagement over the summer on Instagram specifically because people are busy. If they are home with their kids, they're doing stuff. They're not only watching their kids, but going on vacations, spending more time outside now that it's nice out, all kinds of stuff. So it just doesn't make sense to post the same way for both of those reasons, both for our own lives and for our audience's lives. So let's talk about what we can do to make sure we can have like a minimal approach that's still effective without completely disappearing. I don't want you to have it in your head that you have to have the same schedule. You have to post every day or even 5 times a week, because that's just unrealistic and incredibly unnecessary. I don't want you to have any extra stress or things taking up your time, especially when it's just not going to be as helpful because it's summer and other people are busy anyway. And, take into consideration also the thing I've been talking about in previous episodes where Instagram itself isn't great for visibility anymore. So we kind of have to shift how we are strategizing that app in particular. All right, so let's adjust our expectations both when it comes to post frequency and what we're going to be posting about, knowing that, Instagram's effectiveness for visibility has changed. So our goal here is to create a minimum viable marketing plan, something that you can keep up with, that your audience won't feel overwhelmed by, and that uses each platform for like what it's best for, basically. So when that comes to Instagram, we're posting less there. I don't know how often you're posting right now. Do less over the summer, okay? Even like 2 to 3 times a week is fine. I would suggest, because we know that Instagram is not great for growth right now, especially if you're short on time, I would suggest pairing feed posts, making sure you're doing some story check-ins and updates and spending some time engaging when you're able to, even if it's just like a couple minutes, a couple days a week, because Instagram is great for that connection piece. And we do want to maintain that. So when you're ready to kind of crank things up again in the fall, you have these people that are already trusting you, connected with you, and you know what they need by having these conversations with them. Now, when it comes to email marketing, people are still checking their emails, right? Like that's not changing. Again, I don't know how often you're currently emailing, but we don't want to just stop completely because we want to make sure we are maintaining that awareness and connection with our existing audience. So if you could email once a week, a quick newsletter, some helpful information for your audience, I would absolutely recommend that. If you have a podcast, lots of people take breaks over the summer for podcasts, which is absolutely fine. I know some people who are switching from doing weekly to every other week for their podcast, also absolutely fine. One thing is if you do shift your podcast publishing schedule, I would let your audience know ahead of time, both on the podcast and in an email when you go to promote your podcast, so they know what to expect. And you can also update it in your podcast settings as well. Now, when it comes to what the heck to share, we want to make that simple too, right? We are going to be fielding so many questions when our kids are home and a million bajillion snack requests and mediating sibling arguments. So not only are we going to be short on time, but we're extra short on brain space in that capacity as well. And I cannot emphasize this enough. You should be reusing your existing content, okay? So look back to previous posts that did well and sparked engagement on Instagram. Redo it. It's that simple. When it comes to podcasting, you can redo an older episode with new information or just talk about a topic from one of those Instagram posts that you're redoing, turn that into a podcast episode. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. We don't need to get crazy. We don't need to find new trends to hop on for creating content. Find what has worked well for you in the past and just reuse it. Because like I said, our focus here is going to be on connection as opposed to content volume. So we want to still have conversations with our people, but that doesn't mean we need to be sharing reels every day. Take some time when you can to show up on Instagram and reply to DMs, reply to people's stories, start conversations, make sure the emails you're sending out are asking people to reply as well as to click on whatever sales links you're sharing. But we're nurturing, we're connecting, as well as, just selling. I know I'm not doing any big launches over the summer or taking on any big projects because my kids are going to be home. There's going to be sometime when they're at camp, sometime when we're on vacation. But other than that, they're home with me. And I definitely need to respect that change in schedules and capacity and not take on a ton of new work. So my marketing plan will not be doing a ton of promotion, but definitely focusing on that connection piece so that in the fall, when the kids are back in school and I'm ready to do a launch, I have an audience that already knows what I do, how I work, my mission, the things that are important to me, my unique selling proposition. And because I've talked to them, I will also know what they need help with, and all of that. So when we are creating content over the summer and focusing on that connection piece, we want to make sure that we do know our messaging, that we are sharing our expertise and our unique perspectives to differentiate ourselves from not only like the other people in our industry that do the same things that we do, but also so our unique audiences know that we are the best person for them. And I know I said it already, but when we're using content, you can talk about the same thing in multiple pieces of content, whether it's in your podcast, on your Instagram posts, and your emails. Talk about it over and over and over again. Like, think about how often you have to ask your kid to pick up their toys or put their shoes on when you're trying to go somewhere. You need to repeat yourself more than you think you should, like to the point where you're starting to worry if you're saying it too much. Get to that point and then say it a couple more times. So you do not need to come up with a ton of different new topics or post ideas. Just repeat yourself a bunch. So when you're planning ahead for your summer, keep in mind, respect your capacity, whether it's time or brain space, all of the things. Don't take on too much. Reuse content that's already done well. If you're going to change your post schedule when it comes to podcasting, just let your audience know ahead of time and focus on connection and trust and conversations right now instead of growth, because people are busy over the summer. If you need help coming up with a specific content plan for you, not only how often to post and where, but what to say, how to say it, send me a DM on Instagram or shoot me an email. I am at sydneyobrien.co, and I can absolutely help you with that. We want to make sure that we're respecting your time and that your content marketing isn't taking over your life, but we also want to make sure that it's effective. We don't want to waste time on content where we're using the wrong platforms for wrong parts of your marketing strategy. I hope your summer is as fun as possible with as little chaos as possible. And if you have questions about your own content plan, again, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I am happy to help.
Thanks for hanging out with me on From Content to Clients. If this episode helped you think differently about your content, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's next. And if you're ready for content that's more strategic and less throw it together and hope for the best, head to sydneyobrien.com to learn more about working with me.